number 24, which is the facilities rebuild, demolition of the Heathcote Voluntary Library building. I guess Jana Johansson would like to move that.
Yeah, so I'm happy to move the staff recommendations for these next three reports. I just wanted to draw your attention to, at the local community board, one of the concerns expressed is that we are demolishing a lot of facilities with sometimes probably not the most sustainable method. And, you know, this is a community that really wants to work with us and be involved in what's going on. And so we have made the request around the demolition that where materials that can be either recycled or reused into the local community, that occur. And that there needs to be discussions with around the community centre, the cricket club and the play centre, who are quite immediately affected by what's being proposed. The other point we should make is that unfortunately, where council have demolished sites previously, we have left them in a pretty bad state. And I just think, you know, it's good that the community board has given the feedback that where we're demolishing facilities, we should actually take some responsibility to having sites left in a tidy and pleasant manner, rather than just turning into sort of like gravel pits or mud pits, as some of them previously have. So I think the feedback from the community board can certainly go to staff, and I hope that they will, expect that they will take that on board. So,
Yep, okay, yep. Well, so let's deal with them separately. We've got the demolition of the Heathcote Voluntary Library building. And so could I have a seconder for that? Ali Jones. Sorry, Paul, I got her first. Is there any discussion on that, on the demolition? Yeah, Ali.
You may have to remove it because there may be a member. Oh, sorry, hang on a second. I had this ready. Were there issues about information needed or confirmation from the insurer that this can be demolished without affecting claim for the repair? Is this the one with the work on the suspended ceiling? Hang on. Heathcote Community Centre. No, it's a different one. I'm sorry. My apologies. I was ahead of myself. It's the next one I have a question on.
All right. So this is the Heathcote Voluntary Library building, that has been... well, we have spent some make-safe money on it, but I'm just trying to find the actual recommendations. Oh yeah, they agree to the demolition. And yeah, so the community received feedback on this report from Hagley Ferrymead. Yeah, that's what you've just said. So
it might be actually helpful in the resolution to have just something agreeing to the demolition of the Heathcote Volunteer Library building like at 8 Martindale Road, and request staff to give effect to the community board feedback where possible.
oh right, okay.
Just so that it's kind of recorded in the resolution.
Yep. Yes, and now those 4 things. Yep, that's fine. And that staff give effect to the community board feedback. You happy with that, Ali? Okay, I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. And then the second resolution has been moved by Councillor Johansson. And the second resolution is the demolition of the Heathcote Community Centre located at Bridle Path Road. Would someone like to second that? Paul Lonsdale. And again, we've got a Hagley Ferrymead Community Board feedback, and I think we'll just add the same words there. So just copy and paste. Excellent. So is there any discussion on that? Ali?
This is the one that I wanted to raise just before, sorry. And I know that you've got mentioned there, staff give effect to community board feedback, but I don't think it's actually that clear in the community board feedback. It's clear from the information here that there was $57,000 worth of repair work done, which relates to, I think it was suspended ceilings and some cosmetic repair work, suspended ceiling replacement and minor repairs, and that was after September. And that amount is currently being negotiated between the council and the insurer. I just want reassurance, bad word, that this will not, or demolishing this will not in any way prejudice the claim or affect the claim for those repairs that were undertaken in September. 57k is a significant amount of money.
Sorry, yeah, Darren.
Darren Moses, Facilities Rebuild Manager. We have received a total sum insured statement of position from the loss adjusting team on behalf of LAP for that property, which is why we can proceed with confidence to hear. That includes all of the work done to date as part of the total sum insured. So the repairs which were undertaken as emergency works are part of the total claim. So there's nothing outstanding that we're seeking from insurers on this one.
So this information isn't correct?
Can you refer me to a paragraph?
Yes, I'm sorry, page 190.
It says the sum of 57,000 was spent
5.4.
on remedial
Okay.
works.
In which case
The
that must be,
council's entitled to
that must
receive
be
it.
actually correct then if we're still chasing that down.
You're saying, sorry, Darren, so this is correct what I'm looking at here?
Sorry, yes.
Right, so
stand
there's
corrected.
another 57k outstanding?
Potentially on top of that, yeah.
Right, so,
On production of invoice for that work.
sure, okay.
So we should have actually added that to our total what we expect to get.
Yeah, but my point is still that if we go ahead with the demolition of it, that shouldn't in any way...
No, because it was agreed previously. Essentially we've done the work, we have the invoices, and destruction of the evidence won't jeopardise the total claim.
So why haven't you got the money?
I think that's probably a question I get asked a lot in this regard. We're waiting on insurers to...
Okay, so I would say to you again, until you have that money,
No, we've previously agreed that as long as there is no reason, as long as we have it, that we don't require to keep the property for the purposes of confirming. So the only properties that we're required to, well, we've still got outstanding issues around are those with the stressed concrete, aren't they? Am I right? Yep. You're right. So we don't require to keep the building standing in order to prove the claim. We've got the receipts for the work that we did.
That's exactly right.
But is the insurance company accepting of that?
Well, does the building need to stay standing to prove it?
No,
That's the
They
question.
may argue that. What I'm asking is, can we have something in writing from them saying, you may demolish the building, we have no further need for it to be standing in order to progress or complete the claim?
That's what we've asked for on other occasions.
On the Littleton one, yes, we did.
So are we able to get confirmation from our insurers that they don't require the building to remain standing for this purpose?
Yeah, we can do that, but the reality is they have agreed that it is a total loss. So what was or wasn't done in September, which is the 57,000, which we have receipts for, is irrelevant.
Why is it irrelevant
not
when
about-
it's because the
No,
57 is...
sorry. In terms of whether the building is now demolished or not, they're not going to say keep the building up because you spent $57,000.
No, I'm not, Michael, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying
Read
is...
5.4, Michael.
Yeah, no, I did read it.
It
No,
says,
what I'm saying is...
in
oh,
addition to the total
Agreed.
sum insured.
Sorry.
It says in addition to the total sum insured.
I understand.
So
I
could they
understand that.
come back to us and say that they don't accept that we ever did any suspended ceiling replacement and minor repairs?
Right. We'll clarify that. It's not due for demolition.
That's
till
all
September.
Ali's asking for is clarification that they don't need the building standing for what we are claiming.
And what we did at Littleton is exactly along
Yeah.
the lines of what I'm suggesting we do here too.
And just by way of point of clarification, it's highly unlikely we are actually going to seek to demolish this building until September. We've talked to the cricket club that adjoins. They've said we'd prefer if you can either do it in April, which is in 3 weeks' time, highly unlikely, or September. So the building will be around until September.
Yeah, and it does say to consult with the cricket club, so that's good.
The voluntary library would be one that we're seeking to move on with immediately.
Yeah. All right.
So can we add something, Leanne, to that? I wouldn't work that way that it actually reads. Go to staff.
Subject to written confirmation
very much.
from the insurers. Confirmation from the insurers. Yep. We all know what that means. Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. Carried. We move on to the next recommendation, which is a staff recommendation plus the community board addition around well, yeah, I mean 7.1, yeah, but we'll come back to that. Yeah, I mean we'll work on the actual wording of this. So that's moved by Yanni Johansson. Who seconds that one? Paul Lonsdale. So the question that I've got on here is that none of these options say what can be built with the money available. So it's all predicated on the basis that we go ahead and design what we want, but no recommendation says what could we build with the money available from the two facilities. And I think that should be something that we get advice on, because we are required to look at more than one option, and under our legislative framework. And it seems to me that we are automatically going to the what could we build that would provide us with the replacement for the voluntary library and the community hall, instead of saying what could we build with the money available. And because otherwise, requesting staff to report back their findings at the conclusion of stage one, including any shortfall in funding, assumes that we can make up the shortfall in funding. So I'd like to know what we could build with what we're going to definitely get, and then what we would build if we were able to use the enhancement money to improve on that. So,
If I might, Madam Mayor, I'm thinking that we just need to be a little bit careful about rushing off into major community consultation and raising expectations on this. I wonder if we should come back first, maybe to the committee, with what can you get for 700,000 as a starting point to have that discussion. I think otherwise it will be a bit more difficult to manage community expectations, which are very clear in this area.
Yanni, then Glenn.
Yeah, my understanding at a high level, there'd already been some work done around, what could happen. This has been ongoing for a long time, and I accept that the money that we could possibly get today, in real terms, is a lot less than what we would have got a year ago if we'd been able to settle with our insurer over the community centre. The reason the two facilities were looked at jointly was because the library accepted that because of the low level of insurance that was on that building, that obviously there wouldn't be enough for $100,000 put the library back, or 150. So that was kind of how we got the agreement. I think you have to realise that there's the library and the community centre, and there's been two quite distinct groups that have been using both of those and have a sense of ownership and connection. So the community were keen to look at raising funds and look at creative solutions. I'm just not sure if we hold this up. I don't quite know what other information you're going to get back. I think we've made it pretty clear that that's the money available for this facility in previous resolutions.
Then why are we asking for a shortfall in funding to be identified? Is that specifically for community fundraising?
But I think it would. I certainly think it would be useful for the community to know what the gaps were, and it may be, particularly if they're seeking other funding, then they'll need an amount.
But in making that decision, if we gave the community what we could build for that amount of money, I mean, we can build a facility for $750,000. I mean, we can. but what size facility, what could it be used for? I mean, I'd rather give the community that option, or say, if you want to have the option that you want, then there is capacity for you to fundraise. It might be possible for them to go to the community trust. It might be possible to, you know, do fundraising events, which would give them a sense of real ownership as well. So I'm not opposed to what you're suggesting, but it's just the way that it's framed. It makes it look like the shortfall in funding's coming back for us to consider.
To page 186, 3.4, actually, all this stuff is sort of being asked for. Provide costings to repair or rebuild options to a council meeting, 24th of April.
Sorry, where's this?
Page 186, under 3.4.3 and 3.4.6. So, you know, I guess the kind of, you know, I'm happy for it. You know, there's work that needs to be done around coming up. This was almost a year ago. Things have changed. Fine, if you want to spend a bit more time updating those costs, updating what possibly we need, I'm open to that. I think at the end of the day, the community want to know that things are happening and be involved in a process to get something replaced and repaired, or not repaired, because this is a new build. So we need to try and give a signal that we are moving forward.
I admit that I don't know the history of this, and I don't know why the decision was made to, you know, respond to the Section 38 notice with a plan to make safe. I mean, this could have been demolished last year, the way I see it. So, I mean, I couldn't understand why that delay was made. And I mean, how much did we spend on that make safe? It was about $30,000. So, I mean, there were decisions made last year that impact on where we are now. That's absolutely true. But I don't know that we'd made the decision to actually demolish the library last year. It looked like we were actually going the other way. Yep.
That's right. The original staff report was that it was to be an owner-initiated demolition supported by a Section 38 notice from Sarah in terms of unsafe to be demolished. It was a report we brought forward, hence the dates of April last year, which I guess set us down a course of the previous council saying do not demolish that building, set to do make safe works and work with the community, etc. That process essentially has brought us forward a year to now where we're back looking to demolish it so we can enable the finance to build something new in the area.
Right, and it's a great idea to bring the community facility into the heart of the Heathcote Valley. I mean, where it's located at the moment is crazy, really. You know, it might be suitable for people that live immediately in proximity, but actually the heart of Heathcote, I mean, what was that nice little hotel that used to be on the corner there? You know, that whole area is just, it really is where the community has its heart. Sorry, Glenn, I've cut you off, didn't I?
That's okay. Just in the costings, could we please also make explicit breakdown on how calculations in 2.4, page 191, of 4,500 per square metre are arrived at? So this makes this 1.125 million if you go for 250 metres all up. Not comparing apples with housing. We know that kitchens and bathrooms up the square metre calculations with housing, but I'm just trying to work out how a hall this size could come to that figure. So if we could please have the calculations are done. This issue's come up before across other community facilities, so
Yes.
Sorry.
That's right.
Yeah, I get a bit like that. Thanks.
We can comment
No.
on that if
Yeah.
you wish, Darren.
Yeah, with everything we bring to council, they're supported by a independent professional quantity surveyor that brings us those rates. So that rate would include a total outturn cost of project management, possible consenting fees, etc., etc. So we apply that to the entire building at 4,500 a square metre. But I mean, again, we'll be looking, now that we're closer to knowing what the total project budget is, we'll be doing some value management on any and all of that.
So, yeah, if the direction from council is to go back, do what you can within the budget and see what that looks like, that's a very helpful direction to
But
start.
how quickly could you do that? I mean, could you get that back to us next month? You know, at this time next month, you know, like?
Yes, I'll give that undertaking.
Okay,
Yep.
so we'll have a report back to us, that will hold it up for 4 weeks, and we will just get an analysis of that. But I think that giving the community that, you know, the clear options, because they might say, well, actually, we'd prefer to have that and not have to fundraise.
Yeah. Yes.
So that the council, that staff report back to the council that the council report back to this matter on April the whatever date it is.
Can I check me whether that will include a breakdown of the costs we arrived at for that per square
Yes.
metre? Thanks.
Madam Mayor, would you like that directly back to council? Or do you
Yeah, I
want it to
think
go through
so.
the committee?
Or no, well, do you want it,
I'll just-
Yanni, do you want it through your committee?
I mean, I think we don't know what's going to come out of it. I think it's probably useful to have a joint community board meeting and then just bring it straight to council after that.
Okay.
So a joint meeting of the community board and community committee.
But can you put in that the staff report back to council on this matter after consultation with a joint community committee, Hagley Ferrymead Community Board meeting, well after, yeah. Oh, okay, after incorporating feedback from a joint, how's that? After incorporating feedback from a, and then take out with. The further information. Yeah.
Put that date out to the next one.
No, you can meet in the next 4 weeks, can't you? You can meet in time for that report back date. Yep, sorry. Oh, come on.
Sorry, I shouldn't screw up my face, should I? Carries on the camera, but probably doesn't carry on the vocals. Sorry, the sequence going through the community board and committee does certainly probably adds another couple of weeks to the process, I would think, just the way that the world moves at the moment. So it'd be fine, but probably if we did it by the council meeting on whatever the second one is in April, that would be more helpful.
Well,
By 10th
That's
of
fine,
April.
just bring it straight back to council, but just the report circulated to the community committee and even for some feedback.
okay, so we'll leave it at the 10th of April, but we'll change it to after incorporating feedback from the community committee and Hagley Ferrymead Community Board.
Yep.
Okay,
Okay,
so
yeah.
and then they can do it independently or together or whatever, and feedback to you. All right. So I'll put that motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. Carried.
Can I just request that we adjust those figures on page 8 and the financial implications? 5.1, 5.2, they don't include the 57,000 back in 5.4 that we envisage will be added to that, and it...
Sorry, page what?
192.
But they haven't included the 57,000 on the previous page that we're waiting for from the insurance company. I think it should be included, yeah.
Yep.
Because, yeah.
The updated report will, yeah, okay. And then I think this is the last item before we get to the public excluded, and we'll break for lunch at that point. So the council resolution tracker, and would someone like to move the recommendations? Tim Scandrett and Andrew Turner. Is there any discussion? I think there's just one thing that I want to raise, and that is that it's great, you know, that it's great that we've got a tracker that we can refer to. One of the things that I would like us to be able to do, though, is to search on a subject. So rather than the report title is, the report title might be the report of a meeting of the Spraddon Heathcote Community Board, but that doesn't tell you what the issue is. So I think that, with some refinement, I think this is really heading down the right track. And I agree that taking the yes items out of the next spreadsheet is useful, but we still need to be able to search the document as a whole. So, yeah,
Yep.
it'll always be there, but the printout will be those items. Yanni?
It's just like a little bugbear of mine. It's not even in my ward, but we're all affected by it, and that is Lincoln Road. So the staff response commentary is that it will be covered by an Addington parking strategy review. 13th of September 2011, the council actually requested with urgency a traffic and parking strategy. Just want to read that again, a traffic and parking strategy. So, I'm not satisfied with the commentary. This is, 2011, 13th of September. I need to have some confidence.
Which page is this?
The first page, page 1.
Right at the bottom.
I need to have some confidence that resolution is actually being given effect to around the traffic issues, the cumulative traffic issues around this area.
Okay.
Because I just cannot see any visibility of anything other than consents being issued and traffic lights going in and the traffic getting worse and worse and worse.
Yeah. Phil?
Yeah, I guess as the businesses keep developing down Lincoln Road, it adds to the problem. A lot has been done, and other reports have been called for too. And maybe they just need to be put together somehow to give us as a council assurance, and maybe they could come to the Environmental Committee. But a lot of work has been done, and there was a call also for an extension of the parking plan beyond what is listed there, Yanni. So, and I'm not entirely sure where that's up to.
Okay. Glenn?
Thank you. I guess I've learnt from a bit of recent experience too about putting dates to things, and if we look through these resolutions, there are a lot of blanks with the dates. So I think it would be good practice, obviously, both for staff and us, if we can attach dates here and at committee level to. And then
You mean when they're completed? So instead of just saying completed, adding
no,
the
when they're
date?
due.
When they're due.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep, no, that's true. All right, so I'll put the motion. All those in favour say aye. Those opposed say no. That's carried. And I'll now, if somebody could move that we, I'll move that we resolve to exclude the